Neham Shri Guru Shiyatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Scha Om Ajnanatimarandasya Gyanajana Shalakya Chakshurumilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurvabhistam Supurgam Gurganarasisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samastaveda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyad Bhagavad Premno Ibija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Sridharam Mansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Goratavishe Namah. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute, with translation and commentary by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj, and translation into English by Sri Swarupananda Prabhu. And this is chapter 17, Shraddhatraya-vibhaga-yoga, the three types of faith. So we're continuing with verse number 20. Datavyam iti yadanam diyate nupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha taddanam satvikam smritam. The gift which is given without expectation of return, with the conviction it ought to be given at an appropriate place and time and to an appropriate recipient, is considered to be of the nature of goodness. The gift which is given without expectation of return, with the conviction that it ought to be given at an appropriate place and time and to an appropriate recipient, is to be considered to be of the nature of goodness. I remember when Srila Govinda Maharaj was commenting, there's different conceptions of how to print books. And he said some persons print a book with the expectation that they'll then distribute that book and be able to at least get their investment back by distributing the book. But Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I was not of that consciousness. He said, I would just print a book because I wanted to have the book in print. And he said, I didn't expect to recuperate my investment or anything. I just wanted to have that book available. So it reminds me a little of this. The gift which is given without expectation of return, with the conviction that it ought to be given at an appropriate place and time and to an appropriate recipient, is to be considered of the nature of goodness. Yastu prati upakarartam phalam udishya vapuna diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smritam yattu prati upakarartam phalam udishya vapuna diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smritam. Otherwise, the gift begrudgingly given in expectation of gaining something in return, or with a desire for reward, such as the attainment of heaven, is considered to be of the nature of passion. Otherwise, the gift begrudgingly given in expectation of gaining something in return, or with a desire for rewards, such as the attainment of heaven, is considered to be of the nature of passion. So that's describing when some gift is given with the idea that it will, as what they used to say, curry some favor, bring the giver some reward in return for the gift. It's not being given just as out of affection and kindness, but it's actually being given with the idea of some benefit being derived from giving that gift. Adesha kale yadanam apatrebhyas chadiyate asakritam avajgyatam tattamasam udaritam. The gift given disrespectfully and scornfully to an unworthy recipient at an improper place and time is considered to be of the nature of ignorance. The gift given disrespectfully and scornfully to an unworthy recipient at an improper place and time is considered to be of the nature of ignorance. So the gift is just given without any respect, and as a matter of fact, with scorn to somebody who's not deserving of receiving the gift, and at an improper place, and in not appropriate time. Everything wrong. The gift given disrespectfully and scornfully to an unworthy recipient at an improper place and time is considered to be of the nature of ignorance. There's no question of any affection or anything. It's just being given not kindly, not to an appropriate person. Maybe out of expectation that it should be given. But nothing involving any loving exchanges is mentioned in Upadeshamrita, the 6 kinds of loving exchanges. Giving gifts and receiving gifts like that. Om Tat Sad Iti Nirdesho Brahmanas Trivida Smrita Brahmanas Tena Vedascha Yagyascha Vihita Pura. Om Tat Sad Iti Nirdesho Brahmanas Trivida Smrita Brahmanas Tena Vedascha Yagyascha Vihita Pura. The scriptures say that the words Om Tat Sat indicate Brahman, the Supreme Spirit. At the time of the universal manifestation, the Brahmins, the Vedas, and sacrifices were manifested by these 3 words. The scriptures say that the words Om Tat Sat indicate Brahman, the Supreme Spirit. At the time of the universal manifestation, the Brahmins, the Vedas, and sacrifices were manifested by these 3 words. So everything is coming from divine sound. The whole creation. At the time of the universal manifestation, the Brahmanas, the Vedas, and the sacrifices were manifested by these 3 words, Om Tat Sat. Tasmad om iti udaritya yagya dana tapakriya pravartante vidanokta sadatam brahma vadinam. Tasmad om iti udaritya yagya dana tapakriya pravartante vidanokta sadatam brahmavadinam. Thus the followers of the Vedas always utter the syllable Om, representing Brahman, the Absolute, to initiate their prescribed duties of sacrifice, charity, and austerity. Thus the followers of the Vedas always utter the syllable Om, representing Brahman, the Absolute, to initiate their prescribed duties and sacrifice, charity, and austerity. So when Mahaprabhu discusses the shortcomings of Shankaracharya in writing the Shaidarak Bhashya on the Vedanta Sutra, he says that the principal sound vibration is Om and not the sound vibration which was presented by Shankaracharya. The sound vibration he presented was to show the sameness of God and living entities. Let's say that they are the same. But that is not the whole proper sound vibration, because Mahaprabhu has explained Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. So yes, someone may present the idea that the living entities are supreme, and saying that they are that supreme spirit, they're non-different from the Lord. And Mahaprabhu's philosophy will say, yes, we are simultaneously the same. The Lord is Sat Chid Ananda, so the living entities are Sat Chid Ananda. So there is sameness, but there's also difference. And the difference is that the Lord is the infinite, and the living entities are infinitesimal. So Shankaracharya wanted to establish the oneness of the living entities and the Lord, which is partially true, but it is also said that a half-truth is worse than a lie. If somebody presents half of the truth, then it may seem like they're saying something valid, but actually they're not giving what is the real truth. They're only giving half of it, and that's worse than a lie, actually. So many things people try to prove something that's not at all the truth by giving a half-truth. So that's what Mahaprabhu objected to in Shankaracharya's presentation, that the Lord and the living entities are the same. But we can obviously see that that's not valid, because the living entities are influenced by illusion. The illusory energy affects the living entities. Prakriti kriyamanai. What's the verse that Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite? That actually the illusory energy, Maya, is Daivi Prakriti, is the divine energy of the Lord. So that energy can affect everyone. We're all put into illusion by the energy of the Lord because it's Daivi Prakriti, but Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya, it's the Lord's energy. But Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Mayame Tam Tarantite. To those who are surrendered to the Lord, they are released from the influence of the Lord's energy. So then it cannot be that the Lord and the living entities are non-different, because we see that the living entities are put into illusion by the Lord's energy. But Shankaracharya will say that the idea of individuality, the idea of everything is just the effect of illusion, that illusion is that we are thinking of our identity, our individuality, of diversity, of qualities, everything, that's just illusion. But again, we will say illusion, but whose illusion is it? Daivi Yesha Gunamayi, is Daivi Prakriti, Lord's illusory energy. So I'll read that verse again here. What is that verse of Shankaracharya's at the living? Om Tat Asi, Om Tvamasi or something. Once you can see. Let's see. Thus the followers of Vedas always utter the syllable Om, representing Brahman, the Absolute, to initiate their prescribed duties of sacrifice, charity, and austerity. The sound of them that Shankaracharya emphasizes, what is that? That's Om Tvamasi. That you are that. Om Tat. Can you see in the 7th chapter of the Adi Leela, when Mahaprabhu, or maybe it's not that, maybe it's where Mahaprabhu is explaining to them.
Lord Chaitanya had 5 features?
No, yeah, that's the chapter, but Shankaracharya, he emphasized the syllable, I'll never find it going through this. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Pranava Omkara is the Mahavakya, Mahamantra in the Vedas. Shankaracharya's followers cover this to stress without authority the mantra Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi. The Mayavadi philosophers stress the statement Tattvamasi, Soham, but they do not stress the real Mahamantra, Pranava, Omkara. Therefore, because they represent Vedic knowledge, they are the greatest offenders to the lotus feet of the Lord. So, Tattvamasi means that you are the same as you are the same, like we are the same as the Lord. Tattvamasi, but that's only giving half the understanding. It's a half truth. The full statement by Mahaprabhu is Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, Bed Abed. We are one with the Lord, and at the same time we are different from the Lord. So the impersonalists will stress that Tattvamasi, that you are the same as the Lord, but they don't. That's only half the truth. The other half is that you are different from the Lord because you are always controlled by the Lord's Maya potency, whereas the Lord is different because the Lord is the infinite and we are the infinitesimal. So, like that. Taditi anabhishandhaya phalam yagya tapakriya dhanakriyascha vivida kriyante moksha kangshibi. Taditi anabhishandhaya Taditi anabhisandhaya phalam yagya tapakriya dhanakriyascha vivida kriyante moksha kangshibi. Persons aspiring for liberation utter the word tat, representing Brahman, the absolute, to invoke the performance of various acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity without motivation for the results. Persons aspiring for liberation utter the word tat, representing Brahman, the absolute, to invoke the performance of various acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity without motivation for the results. So this is a way in which sacrifice, charity, and austerity are performed without motivation for the results. They're done as they're for doing so for the satisfaction of the Supreme, not for one's own personal gain. Persons aspiring for liberation utter the word tat, representing Brahman, the absolute, to invoke the performance of various acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity without motivation for the results. And persons situated in different modes of the material nature don't have that purity and purpose. They expect some result. They're doing everything with a calculated idea that there will be some result that they will enjoy. Sadbhave sadubhave cha sad iti etad prayujate prashaste karmani tata satchabdha partha yujate. Sadbhave sadubhave cha sad iti etad prayujate prashaste karmani tata satchabda partha yujate. O Partha, the word sat, representing Brahman, the absolute, indicates the truth and persons dedicated to the truth. Therefore, the word sat is uttered to invoke the performance of auspicious activities. O Partha, the word sat, representing Brahman, the Absolute, indicates the truth and persons dedicated to the truth. Therefore, the word sat is uttered to invoke the performance of auspicious activities. So, involving that sat, what is truth, what is done in dedication to the truth. No falsity will be there. Therefore, the word sat is uttered to invoke the performance of auspicious activities. Yagye tapasi danecha stiti sad iti chochate karma chaiva tad artiyam sad iti evabadhiyate. The word sat is said to indicate the eternality of sacrifice, austerity, and charity. An action for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is called sat, truth. So it has this other meaning that the word sat is said to indicate the eternality of sacrifice, austerity, and charity, eternality. An action for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is called sat, truth. Yagye tapasi dane cha stiti sad iti chochate karma chaiva tadartiyam sad iti evabidhiyate. The word sat is said to indicate the eternality of sacrifice, austerity, and charity. An action for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is called sat, truth. So in the beginning of the Gita, when Krishna was distinguishing between actions, such as karma yoga, and jnana yoga, things done in jnana yoga knowledge, Krishna said that these kinds of activities, such as here, sacrifice, austerity, charity, they should not be given up. One should continue, they should not be simply renounced. Ashradadaya utam datam tapas taptam kritam shayat asaditi uchate Partha nacha tat Pridyano iha ashradadaya ashradaya hutam datam tapas taptam kritam shayat asad iti uchate Partha nacha tat Pridyano iha. O Partha, sacrifice, charity, and austerity, or any action performed without faith in the Supreme, is known as asat, or untruth. Such works cannot bring an auspicious result, either in this world or the next. O Partha, sacrifice, charity, and austerity, or any action performed without faith in the Supreme, is known as asat, or untruth. Such works cannot bring an auspicious result, either in this world or the next. And we are eternal living entities. We're eternal servants of the Lord. Why should we engage ourselves in any activity which would be described here without faith? Then they're known as asat, or untruth. We don't want to live our lives dedicated to something that is not the truth. Such works cannot bring an auspicious result, either in this world or the next. So, here in this chapter is the three types of faith. And Krishna says at the very beginning, he comes. where he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Trivida Bhavati Shraddha, Dehinam Sa Svabhavaja, Satviki Rajasi Chaiva, Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrinu, Satvanurupa Sarvasya, Shraddha Bhavati Bharata, Shraddhamayo Yam Purusho Yo Yach Shraddha Sa Eva Sa. The Supreme Lord. Faith is of three types, born of the embodied soul's acquired nature, whether good, passion, or ignorant. Now hear this. O Bharata, the faith of all living beings is governed by their consciousness. The living being possesses faith by constitution. He is that which his faith is. I was remarking when we were reading this that Srila Sridhar Maharaj says a person is known according to their ideals. So in what do we have faith? Do we have faith in this temporary material nature? Or what is basically untruth? When we just hear sacrifice, charity, and austerity, or any action performed without faith in the Supreme is known as asat or untruth. Such works cannot bring an auspicious result either in this world or the next. Uh-oh. This is the effect of the, you could say, the elevation of our consciousness, which is accomplished by hearing the Bhagavad Gita, that can distinguish reality from illusion. Iti Sri Mahabharate Shata Sahasriyam Samhitayam Vayasakyam Bhishma Parvani Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Shraddhatraya-vibhaga-yoga Nama Sapta Dashojaya. End of chapter 7, the three types of faith, from the conversation of Shri Krishna and Arjuna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, the yoga scripture of transcendental knowledge, and Bhishma Parva of Sri Mahabharata, the holy scripture revealed by Srila Vyasadeva in 100,000 verses. This is chapter 17. Chapter 17. Shraddhatraya-vibhaga-yoga, the three types of faith. And according to the, whether sattva-gun, rajagun, or tamagun, goodness, passion, and ignorance, but Krishna said that the faith of all living beings is governed by their consciousness. The living being possesses faith by constitution. He is that which his faith is. And people can't generally just make this distinction. They have to see things in terms of formality. They have to see things in terms of this is religion. No, this is not religion. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about that which is the quality of persons. It's not a question of their religion. It's just it is, you could say, more than an observation. It is dealing with the nature of their existence. And the Bhagavad Gita is giving that. Bhagavad Gita is being explained to Arjuna, but explained in such a way that it's dealing with universal truths. It's not dealing with somebody's religion. I always remember that they're saying that religion is presented to a particular audience at a particular time in a particular place according to maybe relevant history or facts of what's going on at the time. the nature of religion. You can see all the different religions are spoken to a particular audience at a particular time. But then they will try to expand the knowledge given there. Maybe that's logical, but at the same time, the initial audience wasn't a universal audience. The audience was limited to a particular culture, place. But the Bhagavad Gita is not really presenting as such a religion. The Bhagavad Gita is presenting the nature of the living entity, constitution of the living entity. Mahaprabhu said, Jiva Swarup Oi Krishna Nityadas, that the living entity is the eternal servant of the Lord. And doesn't say that only persons of a particular faith have that constitution. No, that's the nature of all living entities, and they may not even be in human bodies. They may be in other bodies. And that constitutional position as souls is always there. Of course, if they're so covered over by their bodily situation, they cannot realize that. But Krishna's speaking, and he's speaking in terms of all living entities. Anyway, this is the nature of Bhagavad Gita. So today I just had a few verses left in this chapter. This is chapter 17, so next reading we'll be doing chapter 18, Moksha Yoga, last chapter, the path of liberation. And then we'll have glorification of the Bhagavad Gita. But in this way we're just going through the Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter. So I'm going to stop here. Does anyone have a question? Okay. You play Kartos. If I play, they're very loud in this. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama
Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Nama
Gopal Govindaram Shimadhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Manana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jao ite vignana shabishta puran H.I. Gosai Charmui Taradas Tasamar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame janame more abhilas. Echai gosai jabe braje koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kori La Prakash. Anahande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Haman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyash. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Chayam Vishnupad, Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Chayam Vishnupad, Vaishnava Sarvabhauma, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Vishvabaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki jai, Shri Ram Mayapur ki jai, Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Koladvik ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram ki jai, Ganga Devi ki jai, Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.